The queen bee was stunned to discover that the boy she'd bullied every single day in high school had grown up to be a CEO. As she marveled at the twist of fate, a speeding car slammed into her. When she opened her eyes again, she'd reincarnated back to her high school days. Spotting the boy in his school uniform walking toward them, her best friends assumed she'd tease him like usual. They rushed over to stop him, dragging him right to her side. But to their surprise, she didn't fool around this time. Instead, she batted her eyelashes and leaned in, leaving the guy utterly captivated. Her friends immediately wondered if she'd lost her mind. She acted this way because, after the manipulative girl had hit her with a car in her past life, she'd watched her friends die right in front of her. Her husband and family, however, had settled out of court with the culprit for just a few $1,000s. Only then did she realize that being the so-called queen bee had cost her her best friends, and she couldn't stop her family from abandoning her in the end. Given a second chance at life, she vowed to help her friends make something of themselves and make her murderous husband pay. Just then, the boy who was always bullied approached on his bike, only to be stopped by her friends at the school gate. In his past life, he'd accidentally killed his abusive father but had worked his way into the Academy of Sciences through sheer perseverance, eventually becoming a billionaire tech CEO. She knew she had to lock down someone this talented. She leaned in close to his ear and asked him to tutor her. But why would a boy who'd been tormented daily agree? Her friends, seeing his hesitation, snarled at him not to get cocky. They told him their leader asking for tutoring was doing him a huge favor, urging him to accept before she lost her temper and taught him a lesson fast. One of them even snatched his school bag. The girl never thought her first attempt at collaboration would get ruined by her friends. She hurried to help Joka pick up his bag and apologized sincerely. The boy, used to her arrogant and domineering attitude, was confused by her sudden gentleness. Sensing his hesitation, she was about to plead further when a group of uninvited guests showed up. The leader, a blonde-haired thug, was her husband from her past life. Remembering how he'd abandoned her for a few $1,000s and made a deal with her killer, she wanted to yank out all his blonde hair right then and there. But she held back, knowing she needed to bide her time. Unfortunately, he pushed his luck. One of his lackeys sucked up to him, praising his charm and saying he hated boys who pretended to be goody two-shoes. Eager to defend the blonde thug, she spoke up, but the boy, witnessing this, walked away in disappointment. The blonde thug soaked up the admiration, but she couldn't care less. She ripped off her trendy wig, determined to take control of her life this time around. Back in class, though, she stared at her test paper with a lousy 5 out of 100, feeling discouraged. Even if she and her friends stayed up all night studying until they dropped, they'd never get into college. She had to find a way to make the boy agree to tutor them. Thinking about his poor family background, she suddenly had an idea. Soon, she and her friends were performing a dance no one had seen before, earning a fortune from tips, so much so that a talent scout from a famous media company took notice. Everyone thought she was about to become an overnight star, but she flatly refused. She knew fame without a solid foundation wouldn't last, only knowledge could take her far. Then the scout handed her a poster. Seeing the date on it, she froze. Today was the day the boy had accidentally killed his father. She rushed to his house with her friends. Inside, his cruel father was trying to steal his tuition money to pay off gambling debts, even shoving his wife to the ground. The boy walked in, saw what was happening, and rushed to protect his mother. Enraged, his father raised his hand to hit him, but the boy had secretly pulled out a fruit knife, ready to take him down with him. Just in time, she burst in, shoving the cruel father aside. Not stopping there, she grabbed a beer bottle and smashed it. The boy stared, confused about why they'd come. She smiled casually and said she'd come to save him, then picked up the phone to call the police. Exaggeratedly, she claimed a drunk man had harassed her and her 2 friends, and was involved in gambling, reporting all his father's crimes. Hanging up, she turned to the boy's mother, reassuring her they'd only come for tutoring. She pulled out the money she'd earned from dancing, but the mother refused. She urged her to take it. She and her friends were counting on the boy to help them get into a good college. Then she stepped outside to wait for the police. Her actions had made the boy loosen his grip on the knife, if only a little. Her friends looked confused. "I thought we came for tutoring," they said. "Are we just leaving without saying anything?" She told them this was the ultimate form of doing good without expecting anything in return. Sure enough, the boy chased after them, offering to tutor them. A faint smile tugged at her lips. During the first tutoring session, the boy stared at their 3 test papers. Combined, they didn't even pass, and scrambled his brain. He warned them they'd need to work hard if they wanted to get into college. Before long, it was college entrance exam registration day. Exhausted from pulling all-nighters, she fell asleep in class. The teacher flew into a rage, slapping her awake and telling her to get her but to the back row so she wouldn't distract others. He mocked her, saying no one would ever want to sit next to her. But then the top student stood up, offering to be her deskmate. He assured the teacher he'd help improve her grades. This didn't escape the notice of the manipulative girl who liked her, and she was consumed with jealousy. As soon as the teacher left, she came to pick a fight, telling her to know what's good for her and stay away from the boy, so she wouldn't drag him down. But she wasn't one to back down. She stood up, saying the boy had chosen willingly. Just then, the boy walked over, patted her on the head, and told her to focus on studying and stay out of trouble. This intimate gesture only made the manipulative girl angrier. She stormed out of the classroom and pulled out her phone, hiring someone to teach her a lesson. The next day, as she walked to school, a group of thugs ambushed her in an alley, obviously up to no good.